Hello and welcome, everyone. It's great to be back for our 21st episode. I'm Jodie Fielden. I'm joined by my work wife, bestie, and business partner, Adri Varga. During these podcasts, we share with you how you can leverage your passion into profit. Whether you're looking to launch into the next phase, take time away from the floor, or you're looking to sell your business and cash out your investment, you're in the right place because we've just about done it all, and we're here to share with you that you can too, because it's time to believe your business can be everything you ever wanted.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And hello to any new listeners. We are growing, and it's absolutely amazing to see that more and more people are interested in what we have to say. So, today we are going to continue from where we left off from episode 20, where we were discussing the 5 things to do during quiet times that can make a fundamental and measurable difference to your business.
So we made it through the first three, which were review your financials, have a look at your client journey, and work with your team on team training and development. And today we're going to cover the last two, which are, first of all, we'll look at systems and systems and processes, or systems and procedures, whichever way you want to call them. And then we'll have a look at the doozy that everyone despises doing, and even myself. And that'll be lost clients and asking for feedback.
Yes. So let's jump straight in because this one, number 4, systems and processes, and these two are the ones almost everyone either avoids or flat out refuses to do, and they are essential to business stability and growth. So let's talk about implementing systems and processes and why is it important. And we're just going to give you a couple of examples also how it can change your life personally as a business owners, and how systems and processes and procedures can give you freedom of time. And in the beginning, it doesn't seem like, because there is a lot of work to create systems. And when we're thinking about systems, for some reason, our mind goes to that big corporate manuals and process booklets and system booklets. So when it comes to our industry, hair, beauty, and wellness, we do not need to create big booklets. Little system can be, or systems can be as little as, put it in your, say if you do your laundry and you have a dryer in your salon or studio or in your Pilates studio, then one of my system was, I did put a note on the door of the dryer that please, before every use, empty the filter. And that's a system, and it's done. And it doesn't need to be that difficult. Obviously, we have some procedures and policies which are a little bit require a little bit more depth. But to create systems, it should not be as overwhelming as we think it is.
Yeah, can you give just? I think a lot of people don't understand how big an impact that the systems make in your life. That even just when little things, like when we use that, ask a question with 2 answers kind of thing. I think it'd be really great if you can kind of give an example of when you created those systems. Was it for one of our clients? Actually, we can talk about the one you're doing at the moment, where you're creating systems for her because she's going on maternity leave soon. Oops, I removed Adri from the stage. Hang on, I'll bring her back.
Yes, so systems can be very handy for many reasons, but despite planning ahead also is extremely important, because if you are planning to remove yourself from the floor or from your studio and you want to spend more time to working on your business instead of working in your business, or if you want to start a family, or if you are planning like a longer holiday because like me, you are not from Australia, so to going back home to visit family, it's not like a 1 or 2 weeks trip. Normally we take at least 6 weeks to go home. All these systems are going to become extremely handy. And what Jodie just mentioned, I'm working with one of our clients who is going to go to maternity leave quite soon. Then we are starting thinking about delegation. Who is going to be the best person for what role? And also, once you delegate, you need to create the systems, because that person who is going to take over your role, they need to know exactly how to do the tasks what you are doing. And there is no easier way than actually creating a step-by-step system. This is how I do it, and this is how I want you to do it.
And the other important thing about with these systems is when you create the systems and you remove yourself from the business as much as you can, if you're wanting to sell your business, because if your business is your retirement plan, that you think that, okay, I haven't been paying myself super or a 401k or whatever it is in your country for retirement, I'm actually going to sell my business and that's going to give me the money from all the years that I've invested into my business, then you need to make sure that your business can run without you and that your business is the asset. So this is the perfect time for you to sort of sit down and start mapping out, where do I want to take my business? What do I want my business for? Am I just doing it because I enjoy it, or is it actually something that I'm going to be using for retirement or to support my family while I'm raising them? So if you take this time to really map out what it is that you need from your business whilst it's quiet like this, then you can look at the different areas that you need to work on and systemize things so that you can train people to take over those roles. And the more that your business can make without you being, oops, I'm banging my microphone and there's dogs barking. It's a great day to podcast today. The more money your business can make without you in it, the more valuable that business is.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. And on the other hand, systems are really handy because it creates clarity within your business. Because you want people to do things in certain ways. And if you want to do that, you actually need to tell them how you want to have things done. You cannot just say, oh, they should know they are doing this. If they are hairdressers, beauticians, or Pilates instructors, they're doing this for such a long time, they should know. They shouldn't. They're working for you exactly for the reason because they don't want to have the responsibility of the business, or they just want to come and do their thing and then they go home and they forget about it. They won't think the way you are thinking about your business. And this is our responsibility as business owners. If I want things to be done in a certain way, then I need to document it, and I need to create systems. The other things what I really like to teach is to take the overwhelmed off from your shoulder. They are systems what you actually can create together with your team, and you can have fun to creating systems together. The other way creating systems, what I used to do with my front of house, when I trained her how to do things, in the same time, my front of house started to create checklists and systems. So when that front of house left, then she could train the next front of house, and the systems were, checklists were, and everything were ready for the next person. So you train your team once, and then the other, like whoever you trained, then they can train the next generation for the role.
And the good thing about that is that when everyone is following the same structure and doing the same thing and doing their role in the same way, it creates a consistency and it brings up the level of your business because everyone's at a certain standard. And when they come in, because everyone's already doing it a certain way, they naturally fall into that rhythm of doing it the way they do. And that's why, places like McDonald's, and I use them a lot as an example because they're multi continent, and everyone knows every time you go in there, you're going to get 98% of the time the same level of service and receive the same outcomes, and you know what to expect. So whether you do that there or you do it in a high end, like if you go into Louis Vuitton, it's the exact same greeting. Everyone has the same level of standards. It doesn't matter which end of the market you're catering towards. If you have consistency, it means everyone is at that consistency, and it holds your business at a certain level.
Yes, absolutely. And this is so crucial for the business. And if you're wondering about, all right, so what kind of system should I start to create with? Well, think about things when people keep coming back to you with the same question, and you always have to tell the same thing for either the same person or for new people. Like once we get frustrated about questions, this is when we need to look into it. Well, it's definitely not them, because they keep coming back to asking the same question. So what is it not working? What part of my communication is not clear enough how I want things to be done? So that's something what we really need to think about, that involving our team in creating system is going to wipe off that level when they don't feel connected, because you just give them a piece of paper telling them, well, this is from now on, this is how we're going to do stuff, and read it, learn it, and that's it. So that doesn't work. Like I just had a coaching session this morning with one of our clients, and with her we start to work on systems too. And I told to her, like, when I created systems without involving my team, I always created a draft, and then I gave it to my team, and I said, can you please follow this? Do everything what you think this system is telling you to do, and make notes and tell me where is no clarity, where you get lost, when you don't understand, and then we're going to tweak it. Because you need feedback as a business owner from all the systems what you are doing. And even when you create systems with your team, this happened to me with my team when I created a cancellation policy, how to take deposits and everything else. We created all the steps together, and then once we started to role play, then certain things came up but we didn't think about it. So don't think about creating system that is going to be perfect in the first go. The systems, they are always a work. And if someone has a question regarding the system, that means that system is missing something for certain people. And it comes back again, a knowledge of people absorb data differently. Some people is auditory, which means they like to hear things. Some people is visual, they need to see things, like photograph, like you need to take photograph of certain things. Some people, they are kinesthetic, so you need to do it with them so they can memorize what it needs to be done. And some people are auditory digital, which means they want the smallest detail to be able to finish or complete a task. So we teach this because it's very important when it comes to leadership and communication with your team, but it's a crucial part when it comes to creating your systems, because your system need to cater for all the four personality or four representational system, so everyone can understand and everyone can make the most out of how to follow the system.
The perfect example of that is one of your team members, and we use this example a lot, is that, so if you're worried about, like, oh, you're saying systems, but I just don't know where to start. There's a couple of places you can, the way that you like your business left of for opening and closing, and for the way you like clients greeted or a consultation. But with Adriana, she had this one staff member who was great, but he was there for like a year or two, I think, wasn't he, or a year, and he still didn't know how to, no matter how many times Adri told him, I want the salon, look, this is how it has to be done. I'll show you, going around and showing you, and you see it when I do it every afternoon, and still he couldn't get it. Then one day, I remember Adri called me and she's like, at the moment, I'm taking photos. I'm like, what are you taking photos of? And she's like, of step by step, what it should look like and what it shouldn't look like. And I'm going to put a big green tick on what it should look like and a big cross on what it should, I'm hitting my microphone, on what it shouldn't look like. And I'm going to put them there together so he knows, yes, this is right. No, that's wrong.
And the good thing about it, that it worked, and that just, like that time I didn't understand the different representational systems. So he clearly was visual. I learned to be now pretty much very balanced, but I used to be very auditory digital, which is writing and also auditory. So hearing and, like first hearing, does it sound great? And then I look into details. So he was completely opposite from me. And it didn't even occur to me, like, if I show you once, surely, like you should remember, we do it together, whatever. And it made me quite frustrated quite a few times. And this is when I ended up taking photos before and after, put it together, and then tick and cross and send it to him. And I told to him, can you please save this? And when you close the salon by yourself, just look at the pictures. This is how I like the trolleys. This is how I like the chairs. And this is how I like the desk. And this is how I like the little chairs at the front. And miraculously, that worked.
And then everyone else that came through always had the same, they could follow the same. So Adriana actually never again had to say how I want the salon.
Yeah.
So a really good thing. So what I think Adriana and I can do, I just had this little brain pop of a moment. If you're looking for some systems that you want to work on in the salon, but you don't know where to start, Adri has created some great like cancellation policies that you were talking about. Yours before was one that you worked on. Reach out, shoot us a DM or something, and we can give you Adri's template for the cancellation policy, because I know that's a big one that a lot of people get stuck on. And then that'll just give you a good starting point. And if you're anything like me, if I have a starting point, I know where I can go next. That brings us into number 5. So these are 2 big topics today. So this next one is the one that I detest. Basically, we're asking people what I can't even speak about it right now. What we suck at and why they don't like us, and why they won't, if they don't come back to the business, why haven't you come back? And hearing a truth bomb.
Yeah, and lots of people has a big issue with it, a big problem, because many people, they don't like when people pointing out what you are not doing right. But my way of thinking about feedback is completely different. Like, I actually encourage and love feedback, because that feedback helps me to tweak my business, or even give me awareness about what we are not doing right, and what I need to change or improve in the business. And many times when we are asking for feedback, then clients give you positive feedback, and those positive feedbacks are amazing, and it makes you to feel good. So I know when I'm getting into this conversation with clients we are working with, that's the thing, like, I don't want to do it. And then I always say, I can understand that you don't want to do it, but this is part of running a business, to actually become familiar and comfortable with confrontational situations, because this, yeah.
I was just clarify, because we've just clarifying that Adri is talking about when you're asking lost clients for their feedback, not the good ones that she mentioned before. This is the lost client. Yeah.
Yes. So this is feedback from, but honestly, like, now you just made me to think. sometimes it's good to run through feedback for, like just choose, I don't know, 10-15% of your clientele randomly and just, run through a feedback form or a survey, because you want to know, even with your regular clients, like what they are thinking. And sometimes you can ask, how could we improve, your experience for the business and everything else. So feedbacks can be different, but what I was talking about, that's specifically calling the lost clients and finding out why they didn't come back. And honestly, many times happens that they moved house, moved area, moved overseas, and you are the last in their mind to let you know. And what happens, they don't come, and then you have this, it always happens during the night. Oh my God, I didn't see Katie. Like, what did I do? And then you just try to start to think about, all right, with the last service, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? And then you just go into this loophole and feeling really bad. And if you take your time and call Katie, Katie would say, oh, I'm so sorry, we actually just moved to overseas for 6 months, so I won't come back for 6 months. And that's your answer. Sometimes, obviously, is negative experience, and then the negative experience, I always say, if someone is taking their time to give you that feedback, be grateful for it, because most of the time they don't like confrontation either. So they just say, oh, that was fine, I will make an appointment very soon. And that's not useful for your business. You are looking for real feedback. And if there is something doesn't work, or if something what many people points out in your business, that they didn't come back because they didn't have a good experience or they didn't like something, then you really need to take it in consideration. I always was extremely grateful for people who actually took my phone call, took their time, gave me the feedback, and I always was, as I mentioned, extremely thankful for it. Yeah.
The good thing about it, you need to know Adriana's kicked me out of the studio. Fine. Hey, we both need our L plates driving this camera. What I was going to say is that we need the feedback to know which category things fall in. So the good feedback we can keep over there and improve and find out if there's a problem before we lose the client. So that's really great for that, as well as knowing what we do really well so that we can, really focus on that and make sure that's part of like our brand and the awareness and, what we offer. Our point of difference is the word I'm trying to think of. The second thing, my dog's in the background. Sorry, guys. The second thing is the difference between the clients that have moved out of state or moved away or just naturally, it's time to move on, versus the clients that have left because there's a problem and because you're doing something wrong. Because you need to take both those numbers into your in and out, into your KPIs that Adriana was talking about before from when we're talking about our numbers, because you need to know how many clients, so the clients that are lost from bad service, that you can plug that hole and you can fix it and you can stop the loss. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then you need to know the clients that are naturally the natural average of how many clients are leaving. So you know how many you need to be attracting to fill that natural loss, because you can't just, your clients don't stay with you forever. They have an average lifespan of, depending on the color and the generation, between 3 and 5 years. Mm-hmm. The 20-year clients, that's a very small minority now. But the rolling average is 3 to 5 years. And so you need to know how many new clients you need to be attracting, because you can't just rely on even though that you have a really good solid client base, it does change. And then one day all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, like I'm not doing as many clients, I'm not making enough money. And it's because you haven't kept that client journey and that whole process of attracting clients, because you have just assumed that, you haven't taken into account the natural movement. So it is really important to do it. And I used to I still don't enjoy doing it. It's not my favorite thing, even though you've taught me that it's feedback is good and you use it and we want to hear it. And I say to everyone, tell me good or bad. But I know even with Adriana, with me. So for example, I was working my backside off for like 12, 14 hours on this website. And it comes time, because Adriana is a detail person. I'm not a detail. If you want the details, I'm not your point of call. Okay. And I'm good for the strategy, but the details are Adriana's. So Adriana has the wonderful job of going through and picking all my mistakes, any errors, typos, anything that doesn't look good. She needs to go and tell me. We've since discovered, after how many, 5 years now, that Adriana and I can't do that feedback live. Adriana has to put it into a document and don't give me the document until the next day so that I can decompress and prepare myself to hear, because it's an ego thing for me. You're not ego driven. That's, that's not, in your wheelhouse as far as that side, the negative side of the ego. Positive ego is great, but yeah, the negative ego. And I'm learning on my journey that Adriana's taking me on, is to not take everything so personally. But for me, it's like I've worked so hard on this, and now all you can see is the mistakes. Forget about the fact that I'm asking her to look for the mistakes. And she needs to find the mistakes because I know they're there. So
yeah,
it's like,
I think this is when really the awareness, how you operate and how you are not good with feedback. And we have to have a conversation about it, because I ended up become really stressed and overwhelmed when you asked me to give you feedback, because I gave you feedback with no emotion, just pointing out what needs to be done. I never thought that you are not capable, or how silly you are because you made this mistake, or whatever. Those things were in your head. In my head is, need to fix this, need to fix this, need to fix this. And then we ended up in a Mexican
it was, wasn't it?
because I got to give feedback and you took it on your way. So we had to come up with a system, and you recommended to me that write it down and take screenshots, and then you can deal with all the emotional things, in your own time without me. So this is what we are doing. But honestly, this is just an example. When you are business partners, you still have to work through systems even between you two, because for me, it's never emotional. I really see feedback in such a different way. Like when Jodie tells me fix this, or like when I put together presentations, Hunglish, yeah, that's my language, Hunglish. And then Jodie rewrites a lot of things. I never take it personally. I never say, oh my God, you rewritten my whole thing, or you changing the pictures or whatever. Like we just discuss it, and yeah, if it needs to be, if I don't want to change it, then I let you know I want this way, so please don't touch it. But I have a very different relationship with feedback. So we need to be very aware of when it comes to our team members also, or when we give feedback to anyone, because everyone takes feedback in a different way. And once you are a business owner, you need to understand how they would take that feedback, and you are the only one who can change the way you are giving that feedback, because your team members won't change. And as you can see, even between us, Jodie is on the way to change, because she has the awareness and she doesn't even like it. Now she's at that point when she doesn't like her reaction and she wants to change it. For me, it was pretty easy, but as I mentioned, like it become quite stressful. So when she asked me to give her feedback, my stomach started like, like it was like this. I'm saying, oh my God, like I'm going to give the feedback and then I'm going to just go to hide.
You had to hide. And that was actually the point where I realized, once I saw how my reactions were, making Adriana feel, and the impact of my reaction on her. And Adriana is not someone that gets stressed easily. And the anxiety that she had about, I don't even want to have this conversation. I don't know what to do from here. Like we had like a 2-day Mexican standoff where we couldn't talk to each other. And
Yes.
then when we did, it was just so, yeah, we really had to come together. And that just goes to show, like, two completely different personalities. If you're both invested and you both want an outcome and you both actually care about what the other person's going through and your impact on them, that you can find a solution. And that solution is a system. And the system can be nice and simple, as in, you know what? Yep, do the screen dump, put your info there. Don't talk to me about it until I've gone through and fixed it, and we can have a laugh. Because I can't talk to anyone while I'm fixing it, because I can guarantee you I'm sitting there typing away and moving it and doing the code and then growling and muttering and going mad about the whole process. I didn't know this. This is our size. And Adriana doesn't have to hear it. And I don't have to feel bad about it. I get it out of my system, I vent, and then we can laugh about it. And Adriana's, there's no anxiety anymore for Adriana. And that's the most important thing, is that I don't want to, and I think that's what we need to remember for our staff, is that our reactions really impact them. And so that then, yeah. So.
And I think understanding, once you ask for a feedback, you don't have a control of how you're going to get that feedback. So just be prepared. Don't take it personally. Let that person to speak, because sometimes when you ask for feedback, sometimes people are really, really, they don't filter. And they will tell you, and maybe it will hurt you. But if you just focus on to finding that information which is relevant, and let the emotion to go and don't take it personally, you will be fine. It is because sometimes people, they just want to be heard. They want you to let them to speak. And once you let them to speak, then they calm down, and then you can engage in a proper conversation. The other feedback, what we didn't talk about, so we did talk about lost clients feedback from random database, your regular clients, but also another feedback which is very important, and most of the business owners, they don't do. It's actually to follow up on new clients' experience and learn from it.
Yeah, well, that's one that a lot of business owners, they know they should, but they just think, oh, I'll just wait and see. I'll know if they enjoyed it because they'll turn up next time or not. And I think that is the more painful way, because if you've had a new client come in, and generally if there's been something that the communication hasn't been quite right, they will ghost you. Whereas you'll get some that will, kick and scream, and, we know those ones, but 98% of them will just not come back. Now, if you had given them that follow-up and asked them about their experience, are they happy? Have you got any feedback? Whatever, Adriana, again, reach out. She actually has some templates that she uses that she'll be able to talk you through. But it means that they might say, oh, yeah, look, it was great, but it's just not quite what I wanted. Then it opens the door to say, I'm so sorry to hear that. Come in, and how can we, fix this for you? And it brings them back in. And I've actually had clients become the most loyal clients because I've admitted to the mistake. I've apologized that there's been a miscommunication or something's happened, and we've gone over and above to fix it. And then they turn around, they've actually said they've brought recommended their friends and family because she's so good. Like, she admits it. If there's something wrong, she fixes it. I'm not going to try and hide behind a mistake. I'm going to do everything I can to fix it. And they respect that. Like 98% of clients respect that you actually care.
And really, the next step is when you have your feedback and you know you have all the 5 things to take care of. It is going to be the time when you can look into marketing and creating promotions to attract new clients. But that's in our next episode, when we are going to talk about in episode 22 about all the marketing and promotion part of your business.
Those are everything you need right before you can do this bit. So it will be a very interesting conversation. So what we need to remember, again, Adriana, our social handles, because I always ham it up. I say that at the end of every session.
Yes, is at Focus JDT for Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
And you can send us a DM if you want any of those resources that we mentioned, and I can give you, or Adri will give you a link that you can grab that.